Hello and welcome to Bible FPL, a review of Game Week 19, a look ahead to Game Week 20 at the midpoint of the season. There's frustration, there's also gratitude, there's a combination of emotions that are going to be filled sort of in this video reaction, along with some tips for Game Week 20. So on the main team, we're going to do things a different way around this time. If you're familiar with the channel, we often look at the Bible FPL team first, we then go into a short talk from the Bible. I'm going to do that at the end this time. I feel like most of you watching this video, clicking on my thumbnails, are there for the fancy content. I'm passionate about the Bible content. I'm passionate about my faith and how it can help you guys. So, for those who are interested, basically, you can stay to the end to watch the short talk from the Bible, and that will link into the Bible FPL team as usual. Starting with the main team, I mean, the initial reaction is just the Cunha captaincy pain. I just watched the video from FPL Nightmare reacting in a similar way in terms of just the frustration of a captaincy blank when you've kind of got this big feeling, a gut feeling about a player with captaincy. It's a differential chance to try and chase and rank. And then they absolutely bottle it. And just watching the game, like even 2 minutes in, I was just like, this is a bad choice. United looked awful. They continued to look awful. Cunha was barely involved. And it was just frustrating. Do I regret the decision? No, I was chasing rank. Somehow I've still got a green arrow so far this game week because of the likes of Bruno Guimaraes that have done absolute bits for us. Tarkowski at the back. Lewis Hall in for Timber was a bit of a painful swing, but at least Hall got a last second defcon. Bowen getting a return was nice. Like I put on Twitter yesterday, like I've got to be grateful for the returns, albeit the Kenyan captaincy was frustrating. I think it's a lesson as well. I think Haaland against Sunderland was a difficult one to back against this week, and I think you've got to pick your battles sometimes in FPL. And I think I let the heart kind of outweigh the logic a little bit this week. But would I do it again if I had the chance? Maybe. I'm chasing a little bit. I had a gut feeling about Cunha. I think sometimes these decisions pay off, sometimes they don't. And I think the pain I felt from the Cunha fail has made me realise maybe captaining Haaland would have been the the best way to enjoy this game week. And there's other opportunities to differentiate, including what I'm going to look at with you in a minute, because I actually think that differentiating, maybe differentiating away in terms of attacking the captaincy differential, maybe just attacking the kind of individual players differential might be the best play for me moving forward and the FPL pain in terms of reducing the amount of pain I feel week to week. Now, firstly, I've put some graphics together. Hopefully, this is nicer in terms of watching for future videos. So, firstly, big question a lot of you are going to be asking this week is, and I'll come on to my sort of differential punts in a minute. Is Gabriel essential to buying Game Week 20? Um, I'm firstly going to say this. Well done if you didn't jump to buy him last night with the massive predicted price rise. But also, I suppose, well done if you did buy him because I think he's going to be great. I think the reason why I'm saying well done either way is I don't think he's essential to buy this game week. That's partly because he's away to Bournemouth. Semenyo should still be playing in that. Bournemouth are a bit of a giant killing team over the years. And then they're home to Liverpool. Could I see Liverpool and Bournemouth scoring in both those games? Absolutely, I could. Is Gabriel still a great pick? Yes. Could he still score another goal from a corner? Yes. Could Arsenal still clean sheet in those fixtures? Yes. But is he essential? I don't think so just yet. I think if you needed to hold off, if you've got other things to sort, I feel like you can get away with maybe not going for the next 2 weeks. Um, it's one of those where he could be chasing points a little bit. You've just seen him score against Villa. Like Arsenal did concede against Villa, as I predicted. Just Gabriel got subbed off, which made his points look even nicer. And maybe they wouldn't have scored if he was on the pitch. But the point is, I think there's a very good chance Bournemouth score. There's a very good chance Liverpool score. If there's other things you want to do, I think he can wait a couple of weeks, but I definitely think he's someone we need to be having in our plans to get in, whether it's this week or the next couple of weeks once those two fixtures are done. He is someone we need in our teams. So yes, he's essential, but maybe not necessarily this game week is what I'm concluding. In terms of a couple of other players, I think you need to plan for Bruno Fernandes and Palmer are ones you seriously need to have in your minds. Go on a thing like FPL.team and work out how can I get them in. I think Palmer, you can wait this week. I think they're away to City, but then you could look at him maybe from game week. I think is it what 21 onwards. He's absolutely essential for me, providing he's fit from here onwards, 24 onwards. Again, it's home to West Ham, away to Wolves, home to Leeds, home to Burnley. Like a lot of us are going to want to double up, triple up on Chelsea by then. So have that in your thoughts, but definitely have Palmer in by here. I'm going to probably try and get him in from here for the Brentford game at home. But I think away to Fulham's a lovely entry point if you want to get him sooner. And then Bruno Fernandes, I mean, we just know how good of FPL asset he is this season. He's likely to be back soon. My gut is if he's not back for Leeds, he may be back for Burnley. But the problem with then is he's then got home to City, away to Arsenal, and there may still be some doubt for him for that Burnley game. What date do they play that on? The 6th of Jan, so it's very soon. So he probably doesn't play that or doesn't get 90. So I'm saying try and get him in for Fulham at home. That's your target with Bruno Fernandes. Fulham at home. So I think you need to plan for these guys, and that's part of your planning with Gabriel, Palmer, and Bruno. I think they're three essentials you need in, but the timelines for those I think differ. Like I said, I think Gabriel and Palmer you can probably wait a week or two. Bruno, you can probably wait 4 weeks once those two different fixtures are done, but you want to have all of them in, and because they're expensive, you need to work a way out of getting them in. Now, in terms of the differential punts I was referring to, here's just a few differential punts if you're chasing rank I think could be nice. Matoma, I'm probably going to be bringing in on the main team this week. Home to Burnley, he looked unbelievable off the bench against West Ham. I think he had like the most like successful dribbles in the game or something after just playing 30 minutes. I've got a good feeling about him. Minte went off injured. If he's out, therefore Matoma becomes even more important for us at home to Burnley in terms of our attacks in that game. We have a decent fixture on overall over this period, and I just feel like Mitoma could do well. So Mitoma's my top one that I'll probably be bringing in. Grealish, providing he's not still hungover, I guess he's got New Year's celebration, so maybe one to hold off on for now. But they've got a lovely fixture on Everton, and with all their injuries, he's going to be their main like talisman to try and create the goals for them. So I think Grealish could be a good shout if you're wanting a differential. But maybe there's still doubts around him, given he didn't play the last couple of games due to potential drunkenness. I'm not entirely sure. Watkins just keeps scoring. K Villa lost to Arsenal. That might dent their form a little bit, but they were still, I think, playing some good football parts in that game. He scored again on his birthday. Home to Forest, there's some nice fixtures coming up. I think as a differential striker, it's crazy we're saying he's a differential. He's doing so well at the moment, but everyone's flocking to other strikers. Watkins could be a cheeky one you could go for. And then Kudos, home to Sunderland, lovely entry point. Spurs have some good fixtures coming up. 6.4 mil is a nice price. I suppose there's a couple of bad ones in there, but look, you've got home to Sunderland this week, then home to West Ham, away to Burnley. Other than a few tricky ones, he's a nice differential for some of those easier games. So there's some punts I think you guys could consider. In terms of the main team and transfer plans, basically quite simply, I'm thinking of doing. I may do this. So Declan Rice is a doubt. He probably plays. I'm very reluctant to sell him and I may well end up not selling him. I may get rid of like a McAllister or something who is a transfer waiting to happen. But looking at the old kind of future game weeks, this is where it's team dependent. If I did Rice to Matoma this week, next week when Virgil plays Arsenal, I think it is, I could do Virgil to someone like Chalobah of Chelsea. And then the week after that, when Cunha gets rid of his Burnley game and he's home to City and I want to offload him, I can do Cunha potentially up to Palmer. I think for exact funds. I think so. I think if I make it smaller, you can see, but I'd have like zero point 0.1 in the bank at the point of recording. So I can get to Palmer basically for the week I want him at home to Brentford. I can get some Chelsea coverage, and that would be from the week where they play Fulham onwards. And then I'd obviously have my Matoma in to partly fund it and partly I like him as a punt. And as a Brighton fan, it's just nice to have a Brighton player that's hopefully returning for me in the team. You've noticed that doesn't include Gabriel. That's the biggest one I'm questioning in my head. So these plans may change, but I think provisionally, because I'm chasing a little bit with rank, maybe there's an opportunity to go against Gabriel for a few weeks. Hope I get lucky. Like I said, I think they concede here and here. The way to Forest isn't the easiest. They've got some, good defensive centre backs that may stop him from at least scoring a goal. Home to United's probably where I'd want him from, and I may look into ways I can do that and maybe I can justify a hit. Who knows? If it means I can get him in, I can get Bruno in time when I want them. But there's the initial thoughts as to what I'll do with the main team. In terms of the Bible FPL team, so it's top 15k as it stands at the time of recording, and I've got the Haaland captaincy on this one, which I'm pleased I've done. Lucas Paquetá, what a beautiful differential that was. And I'll tell you something, I had a choice basically between do I start Paquetá or do I start Timber? Now, obviously, Timber did well. It was lovely that Paquetá outscored him. And I may still get Timber off the bench if someone like Thiago's out with some of the slight injury suspicions around him with fitness and playing through pain and stuff. But yeah, I was so pleased I went with my gut of Paquetá. I just thought Villa will score. Okay, they did score. Timber did get the clean sheet because he was subbed early. But I thought Paquetá on pens. I just had a feeling, and with the Timber doubts, I was like, I just think there's a higher chance this week that Paquetá maybe gets the returns over Timber. And okay, I got a bit lucky with a Timber clean sheet and assist. But still, yeah, it was a very nice 13 points. Saka getting the return was nice, and I guess we're going to have to wait and see how the other players perform. But I'm hopeful with the Haaland captaincy and many players still left to play, and the Paquetá big differential return and Saka return. I'm hopeful we can get another green arrow and hopefully push this team back into the top 10k, which would be really nice. Now, in terms of the Bible passage, so every week I do a short Bible talk inspired by one of the return times in relation to the player's name and the return time. Now, Lucas Paquetá, strong Christian, completely justified for this series, for this team. He's got to be the one we go for. And we're going to go for the assist that he got for Bowen in the 10th minute. Um, and we're going to therefore turn to Luke chapter 10 in relation to the player's name, Lucas Paquetá, in relation to the goal time, 10th minute, Luke chapter 10. And it's about the parable of the Good Samaritan. Now, some of you, if you've been to sort of church schools, should be familiar with this passage. If you're a Christian watching this, hopefully you'll know the passage. You may just know it anyway. But in an absolute nutshell, I won't read it all. It's basically Jesus tells a story of a time when there was a man walking along the road and he got massively beaten up by robbers. Now we suspect this man that was beaten up was a Jewish man because it's what makes the story so powerful. Basically, a couple of people walked past him, including a priest and a Levite, who arguably would have been the more likely people to see him on the road injured and help him. They both chose to not help him. They walked on by. They decided they were too busy to help. And then it ended up being a Samaritan who, back in the day, Samaritans and Jewish people didn't like each other very much. And it was actually the Samaritan that put his kind of what's the word, grievances aside or allegiances aside, and went to he took pity on the man and helped the man, and ended up paying for him to get help. And yeah, I think there's some lessons here for us to learn in terms of one, let's not let kind of allegiances stop us from doing the right thing in situations. Like, let's say, I don't know, you come across someone that needs help, but they support your rival football club. Like, let's put things aside in terms of that and actually do the right thing in life. When it comes to even just like walking down the street, and if you pass a homeless person, like it's so easy often to just think, oh, I don't know what to do, or it's easier to just walk on by. But if you sit down next to that person for a couple of minutes, like, offer them, say, can I buy you something to help you? Like, that could literally change the whole trajectory of that person's day in terms of their mental health, in terms of the provision you give them. Like, there's things, whether you're a Christian or not, that we can do every day where we can be a good Samaritan in situations, and we can do the right thing, even if in the moment it's like it feels awkward to do it, or it feels easier to just walk on by. Like, let's do the right thing in situations. Um, and yeah, like if you put your faith in Jesus, God gives you the Holy Spirit to give you even more compassion and love for those in need, to help you to serve them from a place of genuine like compassion and wanting to help them, rather than doing it because you feel you ought to. So yeah, if you're not a Christian watching this, I'd encourage you. Putting your faith in God is wonderful in terms of the salvation you get, in terms of knowing Him, knowing you've got an eternity waiting for you, and also the love and compassion He gives you for others. And if you're not a Christian watching this, then look, whether you put your faith in Jesus or not, you can still be a good Samaritan in life, and that's the encouragement I wanted to bring you today. Finally, to finish, how does the Bible FPL team look for the next week? What are the transfer plans? Well, because our rank is so good, I'm thinking we need Gabriel, and most likely my transfers this week are going to be Lacroix to Gabriel, and to fund that, we'll do a suspended Caicedo down to Wingamoa. Of Liverpool, I think he's got a Christian faith. If he starts getting some cameos on the team, he could be a nice sort of second, third bench option for us. But it's mainly it will fund Gabriel, who, yeah, he's a Christian. He took his shirt off a bit yesterday, had like, I think something to do with his allegiance to Jesus underneath it. So he's definitely justified for the series as well, which is useful because he's a really like killer FPL player. So it's great we can get him in the team. It's just a case of how I do that. And I waited last night on the price raise because I thought if one of these players gets injured on Thursday, like my whole transfer plans change in terms of my route to Gabriel. So I've held off for now, but he probably will be coming in. And I'm thinking I might be able to justify a Palmer in this series. I used to call him Cold Palmer. I'll explain that down the line. And even like Bruno Fernandes, I'm thinking, how can we justify? Because the team's doing so well, we need some of these big hitting players. And I'm thinking maybe for this team, like as long as most of the players in the team sort of have Christian faith, and we don't use players for preachers slash short talks from the Bible who we know would be opposed to that, I think we could probably justify it. So I'll talk you through that in a future game week. But for now, the main thing you need to know is Gabriel's probably coming in for Lacroix, and that'll be funded by most likely Caicedo down to Ingamoa. Otherwise, if someone's injured, it'll be one of those players down to someone else who is justified for the team. So yeah, I'll leave it there for now. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, FPL Nightmare, for the shout out on your last video. It's really appreciated. And yeah, hope you have a great game week. Quick turnaround for the next one, Saturday morning. Hope your arrows are green. Try and ask yourself the question, what's going to bother me more if you have sort of dilemmas with transfer decisions or captaincy. Um, Follow your heart, but also weigh up, actually, is it going to cause me too much pain this week to be different? And therefore make a calculated decision based on that. I'll stop the video before I start having a coughing fit. But for now, yeah, thanks so much for watching. Love you loads. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Thanks for all the support so far on the series, and catch you all on the next one.